Hi then, and welcome to this month's podcast with me, Councillor Scott Haslam, the Mayor of Featherstone 2026-27, and my chaplain, Terry Pullinger. So we have a great episode lined up for you today. We're going to talk about some community events, particularly those put on by the Featherstone Town Council. What is coming up? Who pays? What does it deliver? Do you actually enjoy them? You know, do feedback in the comments. Any questions, wang them in as well. And we'll try and answer them as we work through the next hour. Perhaps you've got an idea for an event. Again, put those comments. We'll also have a moment of reflection with my chaplain, Terry Pullinger. And we have a special guest, The.Tight.Englishman, aka Jordan Claybrough. So thanks for joining us, Jordan. Thanks, Terry, for coming back as well for this month's podcast. How has everyone been and holding up with the weather as it is?
It's hot for me, especially reviewing food. The more places I can review with outdoor seating at the moment, the better. But, we're quite blessed up here to have some nice weather. It makes a nice change.
Good. And what about you, Terry? Is it hotter down there?
Well, yeah, in the south, I think it is hotter. Excuse me, I'll get away from that. It is hotter, and they're saying now. I mean, the last 3 days have broken all records. Broken. I think most people, well, those who can remember, 1976 was a magnificent summer where we reached record heat, and the last 3 days have consecutively beat that. So it's schools have been closed, etc. So unprecedented, really. And if it's something that's going to become a thing, then I think we'll have to all start thinking about getting air conditioning. Schools have been closed, etc.
Well, that's my phone going off. Right. Okay. So, for me, I've been a little bit busy this week. We're delighted to open Wheelfest Ropergate 1940s in Pontefract. I visited Gurnell Infant School and Kestrel Estates to discuss a new event coming soon. I attended the grand reopening of Little Bakes on Station Lane. So one really to bob in there, Jordan. Very nice grub in there. And I represented Featherstone at Normanton Civic Sunday. And finally, I was delighted to hand the £250 community grant from Featherstone Town Council to the Prince of Wales Hospice in Pontefract. So yeah, it's been not busy at all, really. But that's that. So what we'll dive into now is the sort of main body of it. So Jordan, again, thanks for joining us today. What I think first question really is, who is the Tight.Englishman?
Thank you for having me. So the Tight.Englishman is just a normal, common Yorkshireman. I want to showcase the positives in Featherstone and wider around the 5 towns. Living here, you see a lot of negativity online these days. You see a lot of people that give negative reviews. It's quite difficult to give a good review. So that's something that I want to sort of share with people. Is everybody's got places that they really rave about, but they never really share that experience and share it with people. Word of mouth is massive, especially in the north of England as well. There's a lot of places you can go to eat. There's a lot of events. There's a lot of things to do. We are quite blessed in this country. There's a lot that goes on, and social media plays a massive part in it in terms of showcasing that, sharing that experience, and highlighting it to people that might not even know that the event's on and live locally. So that's something that I wanted to share, really. That's where the name The Tight.Englishman came from, because I want us to all the events that are free. We're in such a difficult time at the moment with the cost of living, the prices of everything going up, and there's things out there that people can do for free or on a budget. And I want to showcase that to people, that you don't have to sit in. You can go out and you can enjoy it. You can have fun. You don't need to go abroad on holiday. There's so many things to do in the UK. So that's the main reason to do what I do. And obviously the food side of it is massive, because there's a lot more small independent businesses. What a lot of people think is when they see a cafe that's open between 8 and 2, that, oh, that's a nice easy day for them. Yeah, they're up before everybody else, prepping for the day. When they finish at 2, it's never to finish at 2. And I want to sort of showcase the hard work that goes into that behind the scenes, and just scream about it a bit more, because you can pay a little bit more. Don't get me wrong, than in typical supermarkets, but it gets people out, it gets people talking, it builds that community, and that's something I really want to do. And I really focus on supporting and helping the smaller businesses grow, along with the community side of it as well, because that's really important. But you can't do one without the other. So I'm building the community, and us as a community help building them businesses.
Yeah, I think that resonates, doesn't it, Terry, in the sense that the mayorship that I've taken on this year is about trying to build on community, and where Jordan's building on the community with, I think the way to a man's heart is through the stomach. He's building on that from the food perspective. We're trying to build on it from any avenue we can, and I think what Jordan's doing is a significant brick. I mean, this is sort of scripted, today's episode. Terry, if you've got a question, delve in, and ask it, because
Okay. I mean, I've certainly got a contribution, because what strikes me is, many people almost instantly go for the big chains now, don't they? McDonald's or, one of these bigger things. And when I looked at some of the videos, some of the work you've done, you're promoting, local businesses that are people that have come up with an idea to earn a living themselves, but also provide for people. And it just struck me with what the value for money that you was getting there, and the lengths they were going to please their customers, and you get that individual sort of menus as well, don't you? Rather than just the same stuff that we're all guilty of, where you just pull into one of these chain places. But if we're looking at the community in general, then also if people have got disposable income, if they spend it in their community on the initiatives that local people have come up with to open a shop or somewhere to eat or somewhere to whatever, then I always try to do that where I live, because I always know some people say they might be a little bit dearer or whatever, but you're putting money back into the community. And if all these places were to close or no one even bothered, then we'd have no choice at all other than the big chains. That's all we would have. So, I mean, certainly if I was living around your area, if I was living there and I was watching some of the places you've reviewed, I think I'd be going.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and people think I'm this wealth of knowledge that knows everywhere. I'm the same. A lot of people message me and recommend me places that they've ever been, or they've recommended to people. There's so many places that the hidden gems for me are the ones that I didn't know about, which I think is really important. But also going back to what you were saying there as well about pumping money in the community. I remember growing up, I'm 32, I remember 16 years ago when I was 15, 16, a lot of my friends worked in these local cafes on weekends. A lot of my friends worked in these small local shops. Without them being there and providing that experience, we're in a day now where you can have all the qualification in the world, but you need the experience to go with it. And I think something that gets overlooked as well is a lot of these places that I go to, and I don't really showcase this side of it, but they're all students that work there, or they're a lot younger, or alternatively, they've worked a stressful job all their life and they want to make a difference themselves. So they could be at the later end of life and they want to just do it a couple of days a week to socialise, to get out. And I think that's really important as well, because it's actually a full circle, because that's somebody's mum and dad that own that business. I could be a friend of somebody's mum and dad that own that business. And, it all comes back to the seaworth community. Because there's people good in this area.
It's the variety as well. It's not mass-produced food, is it? And it's sometimes if you're looking for somewhere to have a breakfast, for instance, I always think it's a shame that nearly all hotels have gone for this, where you help yourself and you go to your breakfast, and the egg looks like it's been sitting there for a couple of hours and that sort of stuff. Well, you go into some of these small places, and 9 times out of 10, and your reviews certainly reflect that, you walk out really satisfied and really feel like you've had good value for money, great service.
Exactly that. That's one of the biggest things. there's a lot of different variety of food as well, Terry, that you've touched on there, which is true. There's a few different factors on how I choose that. One of them's the weather. You know, people don't want the full English breakfast when it's 35 degrees. I understand that and I appreciate that. So then I go for the healthier option breakfast. But also, I'm human too. I can't sit and eat a full English breakfast every day. To be quite honest with you, I don't really enjoy it. It's not my sort of food. I, like everybody else, have food that they really like, but then food they dislike. The thing is, for me, I'm really open now in trying new foods, which is one of the main hidden reasons. It's a very personal reason as to why I did this. Because as you touched on, it's too easy to go to McDonald's, KFC, Subway, Nando's. You know, the list's endless. I was that guy. I was that person that I would go and order the same thing every week and pump the money into there. It was only until I started doing this. There's foods that I really like now that I would have never tried before. And I don't normally plan what I eat as well. It's all in the moment, and that's what makes it raw. That's why I like the variety of things, and I like to showcase as many different things as possible because everybody's got a different taste. And it sounds silly, and I say this to a lot of people, and they sort of laugh at me, but eating foods, it does get, if you're repetitive and eat the same food, it gets quite boring because there's only so many times I can describe that meal. Whereas if I get something new that I've got no expectation as to what it tastes like, you can't hide that face. You can't say it's great and look like you want to spit it out. And that's what really makes it, is it's so raw. And I love the fact that when I go, and a lot of people that are there spending their hard-earned money in these eateries know who I am when I walk in. They all want a picture, which is absolutely fantastic. And I think that's just something on the back of what I'm doing, because I'm relatable. I'm just a normal guy. I'm no different to any. My money's not worth a penny more than theirs. You know, we all work hard for his money, and I think that's what the biggest thing is. But they get to see me eat it live, and a lot of people are sort of shocked with how little I actually eat of it. But that's because you don't need to eat it all to give it a review.
So, Jordan, when sorry, Terry. If we, you mentioned some of the reasons. It might be weather. It might be, just what you fancy at the time. But do you actually have a set budget that you decide that you need to attain, whatever meal it is, whether it be a breakfast? Do you have a set of 15 to 20 quid? And, what is it that you sort of looking at? Is you just try it? Yeah.
There's no set budget. I review the menu while I'm there, and I have a look at the menu. If I see an extra large full English breakfast for £9, of course I want to get that, because that is really good value for money. Now, don't get me wrong, the average person can't eat an extra large full English breakfast. However, what a lot of people don't realise is by the time you get a small breakfast and add an extra sausage, add that extra egg, add the mushrooms, before you know it, it's actually more affordable for you to get a larger breakfast than it will be getting the small with all the add-ons. And also, there's an element for social media. Let's put the cards on the table. If I'm there eating a small breakfast, it's not that appealing. I'm not one of these man versus food guys. Sorry to the viewers that think that I do eat all the food. I really don't. It's not healthy.
Well, that's an exclusive, isn't it, Jordan? That's an exclusive.
That's an exclusive. If you never come up to me and spoke to me, you'll never know. So I thought I might as well just throw the exclusive out there for you all. But just because you don't eat all the food doesn't mean you don't enjoy it.
Absolutely. So, in terms of, I've seen some of the videos that you've done in Featherstone, and there's a couple of good examples there. It sounds like you've got some on the radar that you want to come back and revisit, but which is really, really good. And it looks like Terry might have lost his video feed, but I'm sure he'll come back in.
Yes.
No, I'm here. I'm in.
Oh, you're on audio. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's good.
I was going to ask if you'd ever thought, because it's such a positive contribution to local businesses, etc. You promoting them, I'm sure they're delighted with that. and more people are becoming aware of them. Have you ever thought of extending it, or maybe in the future? So, like whether there was a local butcher's or whether there's a local baker's, etc.
Yes, I have, Terry. I think it's really important. I touched a short while ago on that regarding that there's people that wake up before we do supplying the meat to these places, and it's really important to showcase that butcher, because if you've got really good quality ingredients, you can make really good food. If you've got a cafe that, no disrespect to cafes that do serve the cheaper alternatives, because at the end of the day, you look at price versus quality of food. Now, I think it's really important, Terry, like you mentioned there, to showcase that butcher or that baker, because they're the ones that really put in the hard work and the time that a lot of people don't realise. And I'd love to do that. It's something I really love to do. And what a lot of viewers might not realise is a lot of the butchers and the bakers don't just supply that one particular business in the area. They wouldn't be here doing it today if they only supplied one business in the area. But I think it's really good for that business owner to showcase that particular butcher's produce. It's the same with, I always compare it to the house wine situation. The house wine, a lot of people think it's the cheapest wine, but it's not necessarily the cheapest bottle of wine. It's the wine that the business associates with themselves or want to be associated with. That's exactly the same with the butcher. They want that quality of produce to make that breakfast, for example, elevate it to that next level to make people want to come back. You know, we all know there's a couple of really big commercial companies that also do butchering between Pontefract and Featherstone, and they're doing an absolutely fantastic job. But there's enough for everybody. There's that many houses getting built in the area now. I think it's great that people actually want to come to our area. So the more I can showcase not just of the actual cafe or restaurant, but also a lot more behind the scenes in terms of that butcher and wanting to know why that butcher cares so much about what he does, why he wants to produce food so locally. Because realistically, every butcher's dream is to get into the Morrisons of the world, and the Tesco's and the Sainsbury's, but they care about the produce. And as soon as you start hitting quantity over quality, the quality goes away, and that's not what the butcher's all about. The butchers would rather sell 10 sausages a day, making 10 people happy, than selling 1 million a day and making nobody happy. And I think that's really important. Sorry, Scott,
I'll tell you what would be an idea, Jordan, is maybe if you're visiting these butchers, is to go and get them and then get them on a barbecue at home, just in your back garden or something, and then see how good they are home cooked. That'd be an interesting video.
I'd be curious to see how that goes, because I'm not a very good cook, so that's the reason why I eat out.
We've got a fan, so I'll just put that on screen for you, Jordan. There you go, Sarah Kidger. Watch you all the time, visit a few places after seeing your reviews, so excellent.
Fantastic. No, I appreciate that, Sarah. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the comment there. It genuinely means this is the reason what I do. This is the reason why I do what I do. It gets that community.
And MTK, one of my colleagues from the town council, she's making a valid point there, isn't she, in terms of pay a little bit more for the independent food outlets. Obviously, the overheads tend to be slightly more because they haven't got that scale. But obviously, they put that little bit more effort into it, I find.
Yeah,
maybe Scott, we've been looking for light bulb moments. Maybe this is one of the light bulb moments inspired here, but by the issue of food. Maybe it's the local product food chain. So we spoke about local butchers, local bakers. What about local farms? I don't know but they can always do with a leg up. So, there could be something in this that was a big promotion locally, and more people start to think about that and then buying the produce from their local farm, local butcher, it could really help the local, infrastructure.
You're so right on that, Terry. Sorry to interrupt there. I posted a video earlier this week. Horncastle Farm in Havercroft. that went viral, and it's starting to go viral now on TikTok as well. That did go viral on Facebook and Instagram. Everything they serve, from the meat, the veg, and the potatoes, is grown on that farm. People bought in to that mission. I was quite fortunate. I got to experience it firsthand. A lot of people will also see the same when they arrive, and you're driving down, you see the cattle, you see the potato fields, you see all the vegetables, you see the staff coming in with the bag full of vegetables to sell in there in the greengrocers they've got there. It really says a lot that people really want the local produce. And back to Maureen's point there, she's also correct. You can spend that little bit more and support that local business, but you feel better spending that little bit more, knowing that you've made that difference.
No, I think it's good, and you've referenced Horncastle Farm, and I've been there a number of times feeding the lambs. I've been there with my wife and daughter, so it's quite possible you may have met one that we fed. Maybe not, but a bit of a moral type thing, a morbid thing. But yeah, we've one of my official partners this year is Farmer Copley's, and Farmer Copley's is another one that has sort of diversified. It's more of a fruit farm, so it does more of the strawberries and pears and that type of thing. But within their farm shop, they do source the food from the butchers locally, and obviously they have a high quality product. When I spoke to Rob Copley, that's exactly what it is. He won't compromise on that quality, but obviously he has to reflect that in the price. So there's some view that it's a bit expensive, and don't get me wrong, I can't afford to go there every single day of the week. Of course I can, but it's nice there's a fair treat, and you do appreciate that quality.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of people that live locally, unfortunately, can't afford to go there, and that's just the times we're in. But we also have to look at what they bring to the town. Whenever they have the pumpkin festival, whenever they even have the circus, us, me from Pontefract, yourself from Featherstone, we don't appreciate places like that enough. That I've spoke to people that have come from Knaresborough, Harrogate, Hull, Worksop, that come and visit Farmer Copley's because they want to see what it's all about. They see it online. They've got a great online presence, and that's the way that's the way of the world now. And I say unfortunately because you shouldn't have to go online to find out things that are happening. You shouldn't have to go online to work out where to eat. But that's the way the world's going these days. I said to the Wakefield Express, I want to be the trip advisor of social media. I want people to go onto my page, know exactly what's on in terms of events locally, and also where to eat. So then people can plan a good day out, and that's what it's all about, is getting people out, because it's too easy now going on Just Eat, going on Deliveroo, paying an inflated price for food, because it is inflated. And I feel sorry for the businesses as well. I'm not going to disclose too much, but it's worth the bit. It's sometimes it's not worth the businesses being on these platforms. But the presence that places like Just Eat and Deliveroo bring is also, they're also helping the businesses, ironically, as well, because it's getting people that live in that area to highlight what food they've got in that area. So once again, that's got pros and cons. But I just want people to go out. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're filming this. It's 35 degrees. The chance of another episode occurring when it's 35 degrees is pretty rare. But I just want people to go out, and Pontefract's got the 2 hours free parking at the moment. Featherstone's got ample parking. I just want people to go out and just experience it for themselves. And that's not just the food side, that's supporting all the businesses down there. A lot of these businesses down Station Lane have been there for years. They're doing something right.
Absolutely. So I think you kind of maybe suggested or intimated which may be your most memorable place, certainly of recent days and weeks. But does any one particular eatery or place that you've been really stand out as the most memorable place that you've visited or eaten at? Whether it be good reasons or whether it's bad reasons.
It's not really a small independent business, this one, but it is a local business. It's the King's Croft.
Oh.
Shocked me. especially through the week when you can get a starter, main, and a dessert for just over 20 quid. And to put it into perspective, I got garlic mushrooms. Sorry, I didn't. I got garlic bread with mushrooms in a garlic sauce. I got a beef carvery, and I got a cherry bakewell sticky toffee pudding and custard. You don't get more heartier than that. Obviously, it's not the kind of food that I'd eat today in this sort of heat. But I've lived in Pontefract for 32 years, and I did not know you could just go and eat at the King's Croft. I assumed it had to be a wake or a wedding or a special occasion for you to go there. And that really opened my eyes as to how good the food is locally. One of the most memorable places, though, Scott, to answer your question further, Frankie G's at the top of Station Lane. That video really put me on the map in Featherstone. I know that's been a cafe owned by a number of owners previously. I know Frankie's obviously the daughter of the owner there, which I think is a fantastic attribute to what she's doing, not just for the community, but also to keep it in the family. That speaks volumes, does that. And when I filmed their breakfast, it was a really, really good breakfast. And it's strange because I went with no expectation. And as a food blogger, you've got to go with no expectation. And it was one of the best breakfasts that I've eaten in the 5 towns, which I think really put Frankie G's on the map. It was one of my first local viral videos. I did get known after that as the guy that eats breakfasts. It's just unfortunately locally, when you look at breakfast item options versus evening meal, there's a lot more takeaways on an evening as opposed to places to actually get dressed up, do your hair, do your makeup. I'm speaking about myself here. To go out and have a really good night. And it is getting better. It is getting better, and it takes time. I just wish there was more places like that on an evening for people to go to. It's not, you see a lot on social media of the dangers of the 5 towns and just the way of the world now. Trust me, guys, it's really not. It's really not. People that live in Featherstone are so friendly. Say hello to you when you walk by. Same with Pontefract, say hello to you when you walk by. You don't really get that outside of Yorkshire, and I think that's something that really takes Yorkshire to the next level, is how friendly and welcoming people are. And if us Yorkshire folk didn't speak to each other, word of mouth's big in Yorkshire, especially in Featherstone, Pontefract, 5 towns. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be as successful doing this as I would be without my community and the community recommending me these places. And it's all about having the bottle sometimes to just say hello and just speak to people, because it does go such a long way.
I've got to admit, it kind of ties into the next question. So last weekend I opened the Wheelfest in Pontefract, and I did see you doing some video recording there, and I did try to grab you just ahead of this podcast just to say hi and introduce myself, but you were that busy flittering around getting the work, but you were getting grabbed from left and right, and can I have a selfie this, can I have a selfie that, and you're really, really accommodating to the public, and it was really nice to see someone like yourself, an honourable man, sort of engaging with the public in that sense. But I did wonder what you were doing, where you were going to eat. And then you put the video out and you didn't eat anywhere, according to the one you put out. It was just about promoting the event, didn't you? And just
exactly
good sort of feel vibe. So the question really is that kind of something you're moving into? Like, it's not just about eateries, it's actually about events, and it's about just the local community as a whole.
Exactly that, yeah. I want to do a lot more events. Luckily, we are quite blessed. There's a lot of events occurring. Especially we're coming to the time of year now as well, where there's a lot more events because it is seasonal. And I do like showcasing the events, because if you don't live in this area, the fact that there's a street where we live that turns to a war zone, a 1940s event that takes place. You see some of the cars that you see from movies that you never think you'd see in real life. we've got there's a licorice event, and Pontefract's known for its Pontefract cakes and things like that. But the fact that there's actual event on about that, I want to showcase that. I think it's really important to showcase that having events like this gets people out, and I think that's the biggest thing. And look, it is quite. I've walked through Pontefract on Tuesday afternoon, and I might be the only person there. But then I go to the Wheel Fest, and there's thousands of people that turn up just because there's some. It's just because there's some cars parked down Beast Fair or down Ropergate, and it's amazing what the community thrive from. And it's really important for me to showcase those events because it's things I enjoy doing. Obviously, I enjoy eating. If I didn't enjoy eating, I'd be a bit skinnier than what I am now. But it gets people out.
You and me both, lad.
Once again, it gets people out. It gets people talking, and that's really important. And I just wish we spoke about this off air, Terry. I call it a. I'm trying to think. It's difficult because these events are only on for one day, maybe out of the year. So they're a bit like a one-hit wonder. By the time I've gone and filmed it to showcase it to social media, the amount of people that comment on there and say, "Oh, I didn't know that was on," and you're walking around the town and you're not really seeing the signs to say that it's on, and it's not screaming at you on social media as it should be. And I think it's something that the councillors are really working harder on this year. Because that's where the community is. The community is on Facebook. The community is on social media, and it's a matter of showcasing that. And that's what I love about what I do so much. Because I always remember I was at the Wheel Fest, and I had a children's granddad come up to me, asking if he could have a picture with his grandson. And his grandson, I believe, was 11. But then the granddad also followed me on Facebook. Exactly the same video, no tweaking, and he loved it as well. So the fact that I can capture all the three generations of life speaks absolute volumes for me.
It does, and it's very unusual, really, isn't it? As well, in terms of that reach that you can have something that appeals to a broad church in that sense.
Correct.
So we sort of touched on there about events, and one of the sort of themes that brought you onto this podcast is about events, particularly what Featherstone Town Council put on. And for those people that are watching that might not know, Featherstone Town Council was born some 52 years ago, and as part of your council tax there is a precept, a small amount, notional amount of money that all the properties in the catchment area for Featherstone Town contributes into the council's budget, and out of that budget we then put on different events. So the next real big event that we're putting on is the sort of premier event, which is the gala, and that's on Saturday the 4th, and that is kind of why Jordan, we've got the link with Jordan today, the Tight.Englishman, because you are coming to our gala. And
indeed.
Yeah, is it that you're trying to capture the whole sort of gala as an event, or are you going to be trying some of the eateries while we're there? Because, for instance,
I will be trying some eateries. I think, touching back on what you said a few moments ago, Scott, I think it's really important is trying the eateries. Now, when it's strange because usually when there's events on, a lot of the catering isn't from the 5 towns. So that's something that I feel that Featherstone Council are doing really well, is they're trying to get the local food businesses in to obviously offer the catering. It's not that I don't want to represent a business that's outside of 5 towns. It's just more that when I'm filming the event, because it's just me and my phone and a tripod, I like to keep it simple. It's even obviously the location of the gala, and there's done quite a lot going on, and there's a lot of different things. Theo's come in with the dance group and things like that, and they're absolutely fantastic. They are, it's great to see them come down and showcase what they can do. And I feel that what we're doing there with that side of it is we're capturing potentially people that want to start dancing, that you know, it's difficult because a lot of people don't know where to start. And then when they see that, and you know, they'll be able to speak to the organisers, they'll be able to speak to Theo, they get to meet Theo. You know, he's great in what he does, and he has such a passion for what he does, and you can sense that not just in his videos. I've been quite fortunate. I've met him a few times at events and things like that. I was also at a gym as well in Featherstone that he turned up to, albeit he turned up late. But I think it's great not just to showcase the food side, but also everything else that's on offer. Because there's so much that's going on throughout the day. All my videos, as people know, are short form content, 30 to 45 seconds. When I'm there, I probably film about an hour's worth of content, so I do have to really filter through to showcase as much as I can, because I want it to be real. I want people to watch the video and say, you know, I went there and it looked exactly like that. And I want to bring that sense of feeling that I missed out if they haven't been.
No, I appreciate that, and you know, just want to pick up on a couple of things, because the catering we obviously would like local, as in Featherstone business, to offer all the catering, but literally the number of people turn up, that just isn't doable. So there's been some sort of question marks about the catering that we've put on, particularly that there's a fish and chip shop opposite the park, which is you know,
Really
and
good
that fish and chip shop next to the Prince of Perston is an excellent fish and chip shop, and it's been that good it's sold out. So there is going to be additional fish and chips within the gala, but obviously in terms of a local business, there's that one over their own. I'd strongly advise people to, if they can, go out and go to that one at the Perston Park King Fisheries. But the other thing I was going to ask you is, are you going to be just turning up, or are you going to contribute with the parade, or what were your plans?
I'll be contributing. I'm not going to say too much right now, but I will be contributing. I'll be there most of the event. I will also be over at Perston Park Fisheries as well. Potentially doing another food review live, so people can see a bit of deeper insight in terms of what I'm doing. My previous video, we got a table and chairs set up outside. It's quite a wide footpath they've got there, so I really utilise that. But I will be there. I will be capturing as many people as possible. We're at a stage now in social media where people want to be in videos. People want to be showcased as part of the video because it empowers them. It's a real importance, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And I will try and capture as many people as possible. So if I do capture a video of you and it doesn't make the 30-second cut, just send me a message and I will send you the video over of what I've got. I've worked at in previous events that is a common occurrence. So I don't delete any footage. I do like to, I keep it all because it's a good memory for me. This Perston Gala has been ongoing for a while. The Jacket Potato Van, who's attending, is from the 5 towns.
Yeah, so that's Vicky, that's our clerk from the town council. So I just thought I'd best put that up so we can confirm the eatery, the Jacket Potato Van, is local.
Fantastic. Everybody loves Jacket Spud.
Absolutely, yeah. Is there anything else you want to interject on now, Terry?
No, I'd just like to say, Jordan, I think you're doing a magnificent job, mate. Bringing that attention to people, or the local businesses, etc. And it just sounds like you're going from strength to strength. And I think once you've got an audience like that, once you've got a platform like that, especially if it's all about the local community and you know the local businesses, etc. Of course, it's up to you. But it sounds like you're already going down that road where you're stretching that to now bring in other stuff, which arguably would grow. You know, maybe to the point where you interview some of these local people, these local businesses, and help help them make people understand how tough it is running a local business, or running the farm, or running the, I think the world's your oyster in terms, now you've built a platform, the sort of things you can do locally. Full credit to you, mate. You're doing a great service, I think.
So much. You are right, though. It is really hard work. It is really hard work. I remember last year I went to Pharmacopolis to review the ice cream at the Gelato, and they made me make my own ice cream to review.
Very good.
Hard work, but I must admit, a Yorkshire tea ice cream was really good.
Yeah, that's where I had the mayor making at Pharmacopolis, and it had a close place in my heart because 10 years ago, that's where me and my wife had as wedding reception there, you see.
Yeah.
But they've changed from that 10 years ago to how they are now. But their gelato is out of this world. For me, it's the best gelato across the district, but that's my own personal preference. And they made they didn't. Sorry, I was just going to say they made a special one-off bespoke Mayor of Featherstone ice cream gelato for my mayor making, which were absolutely superb.
Yeah.
Fantastic. One thing I want to say about Pharmacopolis just quickly. Sorry, go on.
Perfetto. I said perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. One thing I want to say about Pharmacopolis as well is I love the fact that they recruit local people. I hear nothing but praise. I film a lot of events at Pharmacopolis. I hear nothing but praise of how they look after the staff, how they treat them like family, and I think that's really, really important. And it's something that I didn't want to share that 10 seconds on, because it's difficult with how busy Pharmacopolis is to keep kids staff motivated. Especially because just because it's warm doesn't mean it stops. It's a farm, and we all see that the likes of Clarkson's farm and things like that on Amazon. You are seeing a lot more insights now through those particular platforms of how difficult some day-to-day jobs are, but they are doing an outstanding job, and it's great to see them grow. And also, a lot of people don't know about Pharmacopolis is they invest a lot into the community. And I think that you need businesses to grow like that to be able to give back. You can't not have money to give back, So even though you are paying a little bit more, it's worth it because they're giving back, and that's something that they really pride themselves on. So that's just my little shout out to Pharmacopolis for doing what they're doing, because they're doing an amazing job.
They are, and they are one of my official partners. So do go down and have some gelato for sure. The sort of last question that I can think of for this part, I suppose, was about one of the events that we've got on in September, and it's what we call the Produce and Craft Show, and that's where we encourage sort of residents to make things, whether that be cakes, scones, maybe they've got an allotment, they have chickens and they bring some eggs, or they may bring up some carrots, or we've even had a couple of brothers last year that turned up who have a bit of competition about who can grow the biggest pumpkin, and no word of a lie, it was about 1 metre in sort of diameter, and we had 2 of them, and they donated it at the end of it, and we sort of auctioned it off on Facebook, and all the profits went to the charity for the mayor of last year. So it's a really great event, and there's going to be some kiddie sort of crafty things, where they might have some Lego examples, entries, and we normally sort of judge it and then give some rosettes out, and then those that don't want to take it home will donate it, and we auction it off, and then any money made goes to my charity, which will be the Featherstone Rovers Foundation for this year. So given that you are very good at eating, very good at tasting, very good at reviewing, if your diary isn't full, would you be interested in sharing the platform of tasting these entries? Excellent. Well, what I'll do on that then, Jordan, I'll get an email sent out with a formal invite, and then you can try and work it in. And if you can, we won't take it personally. We understand you've got a day job to do as well as your non-day job, which is hopefully going forward will become your day job, and then you can migrate across to that.
Exactly that. Yeah. I think a lot of events that are happening in and around Featherstone, it's It's really thriving. It's something that's getting bigger and bigger. One thing we spoke about off air, which had such a big impact in the community of Featherstone, was the loss of Featherstone Rovers. I remember growing up getting free tickets at high school to go watch Featherstone Rovers play, and you don't get more of a heart of the community than that. And then obviously when the issues that occurred off the field occurred, there was no coming back from it, unfortunately. But one thing I will add to that I spoke about off air is there is a lot of Featherstone Rovers fans that come to watch traditional local rugby teams, and I think it's great that you do that. And as a Castlewood fan, I really appreciate you coming down. I do notice you coming down. If you are down there tonight, do come say hi. I'll have a picture of you in my Cash shirt, and you can be in my Fev shirt. But it's great that food, events, sport, community can bring people together, and that's really what I want to add there. Is regardless of what event it is that's occurring, it gets people together, and I just want to see more of it. And I love the fact that we're on this platform right now, with these two great gentlemen showcasing what people have got to offer. Vicky's already
Vicky's going to turn in there. Yeah, no, it's good, and I think that's the theme of this year's mayorship is, together we stand, divided we fall. It's kind of a trade union mantra, and the sharing of food, the sharing of community well-being, all about a common cause. For us is Featherstone, but I think what you're doing is uniting really the districts, the 5 towns particularly, and you're doing it excellent. So that's as much as the interview is done. You're more than welcome to stay on if you wish. If you need to get off, then you can drop off if you wish, Jordan. What I'm going to be doing now is just talking about some of the events we've got coming up. So if you want to stay on, then you can make any contributions you so wish. And at the end of it, Terry will finish off with his moment of reflection. Of course, if there's any other questions that come in, I might put them on and we'll try and answer them. But I don't want you putting under the impression to stay on if you need to get off, because I know you're a busy man.
No, it's fine. I'll stay.
Okay, lovely. So with that, obviously I mentioned about the first event being the gala on the Saturday, the 4th. We've got a new event. In fact, it's fellow councillor Harvey Simons. He's sort of driven this new event really, and it's in name called Heritage and Horsepower. So Heritage and Horsepower sounds, well, the event is what it's described as. It's about older cars, classic bikes potentially, and about those modified cars, and so it's a car show, and that's going to be at Purston Park on Yorkshire Day, 1st of August. I'm really looking forward to seeing that and how that unfolds, and I really want to give Harvey some credit for driving that forwards, because the town council and the councillors are all voluntary. There's no allowance. We're doing this all in his own time. We're not paid whatsoever, and he's really taking the bull by horns with this as an event, and I'm really looking forward to see how that unfolds. And again, I think it's going to unite different fractions of the community. It's going to have that younger end where they've got cars, and then you're going to have the older end who have these classics, bringing people together. So I think I'm really looking forward to that. The one we've had quite regular is called Seaside in the Park. And Seaside in the Park is literally where we bring a beach to Purston Park, set it up in the middle, and that's on Saturday the 29th. It's usually the last Saturday of August, just before the bank holiday. And it's a way of, recognising the cost of living, that people can't necessarily get away to the beach. So we'll bring the beach to people. And that's another really popular event, particularly when it's sunny. And, there's usually an ice cream van there. There's sometimes we might have an eatery there, we might not. But it is more about bringing a picnic. It's about, sitting at the side of the beach, letting the kids have a play, sunning it up. Sometimes we'll have some other games there for people away, but it's really, really good family day out. As I've mentioned about the produce and craft show, that returns. So get your baking hats on ready for Saturday the 26th of September. The Town Council also works with the Royal British Legion, and we'll be marking our respects on Remembrance Sunday on the 8th of November. We'll be doing a service up at the Memorial Gardens on that morning, and we'll have a parade down to the cenotaph outside St Thomas's, and again that's usually some refreshments after the RBL base. So that's a really powerful bringing people together, recognise our armed forces and all the lost people that have participated there. So on Wednesday the 25th of November, this is officially where we say Christmas is on its way, because that is our light switch on. It's on a Wednesday, and I think there's going to be some good. We normally have like some dancers coming down on the parade. We normally have some fairground rides, sort of small ones for the kids on the precincts. Last couple of years we've had a steam engine with Santa as a sleigh, provided by West Yorkshire Hotels, I think it is. So that's a really good event. I may even try and whip up a possible addition to that parade, something a bit. I don't want to disclose it in case it don't happen, but I'm looking and working on doing something a bit different, where I may be participating in that parade myself, using something that will be quite sizable. It's very ambiguous, that, isn't it, Jordan?
Yeah. It is, yeah. No pressure.
Yeah. No pressure, yeah. That's why I don't want to disclose it. I don't want to disclose it in case it don't happen, but I'm hoping that it'll pay off this year. Saturday the 5th of December. This is Santa Day. So this is a general Santa Day. It's where kids from the community can come in. They have a sort of a good day playing on bouncy castles, some games in there, face painting quite often, and then they get to go and see Santa. It's usually a reduced sort of contribution from the public to get in, so they get a gift off Santa. But that's a really popular community event, really, for families. But if your child has an issue with maybe a lot of busy environments, maybe neurodiverse, we also have a Quiet Santa Day the weekend after, and that is the 12th of December. That's usually, we prefer to see bookings for that one, because obviously if everyone turned up at the same time, it's not reducing the number of people in and one thing another. But we'll put out some information on the Featherstone Town Council's page about those events when we get a bit closer. But I just want to give people a sense of some of the events coming up. On Thursday the 10th of December, we also have a Christmas Carol concert. And that will pretty much conclude 2026, and obviously we'll have some events coming up in 2027. Now, I've alluded to a new event. So this event will run the week of the Produce and Craft Show, and it's an exciting event, an event that will give people of all ages something to do and explore. The event is being coordinated by one of my official partners, Cllr Estates, and once the details worked out, we'll get that information out as soon as. But just to give a little teaser, it may be a scarecrow. So that's the events that I can sort of talk about. They're all put on by Featherstone Town Council in some shape or form. Again, some of our key official partners have taken a lead on that, and it's only right that we recognise what they do on that basis. So that's really our events for this year. Is there anything that you'd like to say at this point before we hand to Terry for his moment of reflection?
Only that it's amazing that I live in the next town and I didn't even know a lot of these events took place, which is the main reason, going back to doing what I do and doing what we're doing now, being on social media, having that social media presence to make people aware that these events occur.
But the one thing that happened a couple of couple of years ago, I think Wakefield had bidded for like the Year of Culture, and I think were granted to Bradford. So what Wakefield did as a council is decide that they were going to do our year. And what our year were about was trying to have an event every single day that basically promoted Wakefield as a district. And there were a page about what's on. And you could go there as a single drop page about anything that were happening across the district. So we could put things on from a town council perspective. You know, the civic societies in Castleford or Pontefract could put their stuff on. Other community events could put their stuff on. And it was really good as a one-stop shop to see everything that's going off in the Wakefield district. And maybe, just maybe, the Tight.Englishman may well be that one-stop shop.
That's the aim. That is the aim. I just need to know about the events in advance. You know.
Well, I mean, I tell you what, I'll certainly ask the office of Featherstone Town Council to share those with you, and then if your diary allows and you want to come and sample it, then at least you know they're there and come in, and you know that's the mutual interest that I'd like to see.
That's exactly it, and I can scream and shout about it prior.
As much. That's it. Excellent. Thank you for that, Terry.
Yeah, can I just say firstly, in respect to the reflection on today. So, Jason, you're an inspirational mate. This is only the second podcast, and one of the things we were saying, it's all about community and improving the community and creating, building on the DNA of the mining towns, mining villages, etc., and the togetherness. That in this very difficult world at the moment, that's possibly one of the answers is to grow the utopia in Featherstone and maybe the 5 city towns. But so I just wondered if you would consider anyway helping us further. I mean, if you're in Featherstone, because what we put out last time was we're looking, or the mayor is looking for what we're calling light bulb moments. So any ideas people have got that they think could improve the community that's within the mayor's and the council's gift, then the mayor wants to know about it and wants to engage people, wants people to be involved and engaged in their own community. So, I mean, you sound like an excellent conduit for that. So if you do pick up things in Featherstone and when you're doing your interviews or you're doing your stuff, if you could pass that on, or if you could think of anything, given your skills, that perhaps would help the mayor seek out these ideas from the community, then we'd be very grateful for that. In respect of reflection, what struck me earlier on.
Just 1 second, Terry. Is your camera available?
Yeah, I'm on camera. I can see you.
Oh, right. Well, yours has gone black.
Yeah,
not seeing it. I just thought you'd put it off.
No. Yeah, I'll put it back on. Is that better?
No, it's fine. Well, what I'll have to do is I'll have to superimpose a picture of you for your reflection. So I've got the audio.
Oh, well, that's a shame. I can take my shirt off now then. Given a heat.
Sorry, I'm distracted. Go on.
In respect to the reflection, earlier on this month, I think there was a real grab at political kudos, regardless of who it is. I'm not making this political, but it was about social media being banned for people under the age of 16. And what struck me was the big sort of adult debate that went on around that, or adults having that debate. In where social media has been available to those under 16, then it has replaced many of the things that younger people would have done years ago. So when we're talking about our communities, so youth clubs or whatever it was, football training, other rugby training, whatever it might be, I think today when we're thinking about our community, I just thought that I haven't heard anyone say what they would replace that with if these youngsters have no longer got that, what they would probably class as their entertainment. what is it locally, then the council or the people are going to provide for young people. So just asking people really to reflect on that and think about perhaps in Featherstone what could be done in the fact that there is a whole community of people under the age of 16 who will be looking to fill that void. And what is it we could do locally to fill that? That was what I would ask this time, Mr. Mayor. I think that's what you want people to reflect on, so that we don't just that's not just a political bullet point that's been made, and there's no fault. I've not heard any debate about what's going to replace that. And I think Featherstone to start leading the way on that would be a fantastic example of the again and the light bulb moments we're seeking, or the mayor is seeking. That's
Thank you
it.
for that, Terry. Thanks, Terry. It is a food for thought for that. I mean, we touched on it before we went live, Jordan, didn't we? And you know, I think it is something I've touched base with Gurnhill Infant School as well. So I think it's really pertinent, really, that you've mentioned all that today in today's moment of reflection, Terry. And yeah, I think we'll sit on that, mull over it, and I think we'll certainly move it forward as a point.
Okay.
So with that, that's the end of the podcast. Just over an hour. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening if you're on catch up, and thanks, Jordan, the Tight Englishman. You can catch him on the.Tight.Englishman at all the various different social video outlets: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, but not YouTube. Is that right?
Not YouTube. Not you. Yeah, that's right. Not YouTube yet.
Not yet. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for Terry for dialing in. Enjoy your holiday next week. Sorry, this heat's getting to my head. You enjoy your weekend, Jordan, and we'll see you at the gala a week on Saturday, mate.
You shall. Pleasure to meet you both. Thank you for your time.
Bye,
Cheers
everyone.
now. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye bye.